Emails from Afar, a chef's culinary adventure around the world. By Mike Sanders. Chapter 9. Into the Fray. 12-1, Day 16. Thai Air Flight 659 from Incheon to Bangkok was, far and away, the best I have ever been on. The Boeing 757 was clean, comfortable, with spacious seats and wide aisles. Finding comfort in an airline seat is something we all have to endure, but being a chef makes airline food torturous under the best conditions. But not this time. The dinner included large chunks of pork and peanut sauce, jasmine rice with properly cooked vegetables, and a delicious seafood salad on the side. I was shocked by not only the quality, but the portion size as well. And even though we were quite hungry, and hunger is the best sauce, it was quite impressive for airlines food. The first impression of Thailand that I got was of the air pollution. 30 minutes before landing, Sarah noticed this thin brown haze over the thick green carpet of jungle below, and it grew proportionally thicker the closer we got. Minutes before landing, it had become a thick, solid dark brown ocean stretching from horizon to horizon. As we descended through the layer, the smog and dust began to permeate the plane's cabin with the stench of car exhaust, burnt rubber, and rotting vegetation. Not a very good first impression. Walking down the concourse, the air was hot, humid, and heavy with the smell of a major city in the tropics. At customs, we were told that there was a Thai law that states that tourists must have accommodations reserved at a hotel before they are allowed to leave the airport, which is a total scam if you ask me, but hey, what can you do? So we blindly chose one off the provided list, the Rama Gardens. With that, we were hustled into a taxi, and 10 short minutes later, we were there. The Rama Gardens, a massive luxury hotel right in the middle of Bangkok, defines elegance. When we pulled inside of the building, we were stunned by the size and sheer grandeur of it. We gave each other a quick, concerned glance. The white granite shimmered from the intensity of the tropical sun, blinding our smog-weary eyes. The long driveway to the front door was lined with prodigious amounts of strange jungle plants, flowers exploding in vivid color, spectacular waterfalls punctuated with shooting jets of water, graceful mahogany statues of Thai dancers half covered in gigantic palm fronds. It was exactly how I pictured Thailand. Exotic, wet, and tropical. And I'm sure that's the impression the hotel was trying to make on its newly arrived guests. We were both at the point of exhaustion when we checked in. We really hadn't had a good night's sleep since our last night in Japan, which felt like a week ago rather than 2 days. But, being energized by the excitement of being in Thailand, I decided to wander around the magnificent grounds for a little while. Sarah wanted nothing more than sleep, and a lot of it. Still feeling drained after the nap, not really ready to start exploring the city, we decided to try the Thai eatery in the hotel. It's one of 5 full-scale restaurants here. Just like the rest of the hotel, all of them were stunning. The restaurant we chose was filled with delicate statues, orchids, babbling waterfalls, soft Thai music, and lush foliage. The teakwood tables were replete with fine linen, silver settings, and bone china. The whole thing had a movie set feeling about it, with everything being perfectly just so. After long contemplation, I decided to have a very spicy seafood stir-fry. Chock full of calamari, prawns, and bay scallops, it was a masterpiece in making one sweat. Shockingly, it was the whole clusters of fresh peppercorns on top of the load of Thai chili that made it so deadly. At first I thought the cluster of berries off to the side was just garnish, but upon further inspection, the clusters were throughout the entire dish. Along with the snow peas and the bamboo shoots, it was as tasty as it was hot. I must say it's the first time I've ever had fresh green peppercorns. Definitely not the industry standard canned green peppercorns we've all seen pureed and smeared onto New York steak and grilled. They were much more fragrant with a heady bouquet which mirrored their floral taste. Sitting amongst elephant ear palms, I sweated and suffered my way through it with great delight. I have a short-sleeved shirt on right now, but I have no shorts or light pants. It was fall in Japan, but it's late summer here. It was 90 degrees today with a humidity of 85%, so I have to get some shorts tomorrow. I almost turned my jeans into cutoffs, but I was afraid I would look very out of place in such surroundings. We'll grab a taxi, or a 3-wheeled motorized rickshaw called a tuk-tuk, and head over to the part of town where most, quote, travelers stay. They say everything under the sun can be found for sale there, and cheap. 12-2, Day 17. What a grand place the Rama Gardens was. Clean as a whistle, with a double king-size bed, potent air conditioner, and a huge bathtub. I wish we could have stayed there for a long time, but alas, we had to check out by 1 p.m. Simply put, the Rama Gardens has highly trained staff that's dedicated to great service and impeccable surroundings. Unfortunately, it was way too expensive for us. One night was just under 3,000 baht, and with a 43 baht to the dollar exchange rate, 69 US is just out of our budget. We need to stay at a place for 200 baht, and we've heard Khao San Road is the place to find it. But it does blow my mind that such luxury can be found that's so inexpensive. The taxi ride to Khao San Road was better than any amusement ride I've ever had. To me, the advantages of taxis over tuk-tuks is that the taxis are state-run and licensed, meaning they have meters and there's little chance of being ripped off. What greeted us when we arrived at Khao San Road was a complete and utter surprise. Chaos. Sheer and utter chaos. Honking horns, tuk-tuks belching gray smoke as they inched along, hordes of blonde Westerners packing the sidewalks and streets, telephone wires stretching in every direction, chickens running loose, the smell of charred meat, college kids with dreadlocks, and nasty old women walking up and down selling everything from dried fish to bootleg cassette tapes. It was sensory overload. There were 3 or 4 signs jutting out in front of every building, one for each floor, in every language possible as far as the eye could see. Thai, German, Hebrew, English, Spanish, Russian, Mandarin, I think, some form of Indian, which I think was Tamil, and Swedish, just to name a few. Signs for hotels, restaurants, bars, which took up the lion's share, jewelers, fabric dealers, massage therapy, and trinkets were also advertised. We walked down the street for some blocks and found a place to stay with ease. Located just about the middle of the half-mile-long road, we figured it was nicely centrally located. We dropped off our bags and went straight to the nearest clothing stand to get some cooler apparel. And, after a quick change, we're back out on Khao San looking for adventure. We meandered our way up and down, trying to take in all that we were seeing. By 7 o'clock, the sun was getting low in the sky, and the heat of the day, which had been so offensive earlier, was slowly giving way to long shadows and a hint of a distant breeze. We eventually landed on a quaint little street cafe where we reviewed what the day had brought as we filled out our postcards. Over some little spring rolls with a honey lime dipping sauce, we drank Singa beer and watched the wildlife go by. Every tree here has been covered in yellow Christmas lights from the ground to the highest branch. Billboards have sprouted up everywhere too, adorned with yellow and purple ribbons, which themselves are covered in purple and yellow lights. They all have a huge picture of the king in his early years. Apparently the king's 75th or 76th birthday is coming up, so the country is gearing up for the festivities. Cool! By the time we got back to our hotel, Khao San Road was one big street party. Fire jugglers, belly dancers, goofy men playing the bongos, cart vendors cooking all manner of food wandered up and down the overcrowded avenue. Of course we saw the stand selling the fried crickets, scorpions, spiders, and grubs of something. I didn't feel quite that adventurous, so I passed. We headed back to the room around 11 p.m., but we got little peace from the frenzied street party below. 12/3, day 18. As the strong morning sun began to blaze down, we sketched out our day. With a short hike north along the main road, we found an enormous grassy area with a high concentration of golden temples and shrines. The sight was awe-inspiring. 15 or so temples, all different colors, shapes, and styles, were perfectly arranged on a mammoth grassy plain. They rose out of the emerald ground like fallen pieces of jewelry once worn by the gods, the tropical sun making them radiate with spectacular color. The intricate and ornate carvings, along with the sculptures that covered the buildings, boggled the mind. Every square inch was encrusted with small pieces of brilliantly colored glass, beads, ceramic tiles, and semi-precious stones. Unbelievably, each temple was done in a different pattern, color, style, and shape. And what wasn't covered in glass and beadwork was colored by gold leaf, inside and out. Gilded ceilings, gilded doors, gilded columns, even some 12-foot tall statues of winged monkeys with fangs. Everything. So much so that when a light gust came through the complex, it would pick up the little particles that were loose and transform the breeze into a glittering snow shower of gold. It was quite mesmerizing. I think one of the best parts about Bangkok is all the riding we did in the tuk-tuks. It's like a roller coaster, indie racing, and sightseeing all rolled into one hair-raising, eye-popping adventure. Conversely, I think one of the worst parts about Bangkok is all the time we spent in a tuk-tuk stuck in traffic. Completely open to the city air, by the end of the day our clothes were visibly dirty and my boogers were black. Even the insides of my ears were dirty with soot. We were just filthy all the way around. I'm thinking the king needs to enact an order to control air pollution. Now I understand why we see all the tuk-tuk drivers wearing surgical face masks. There have been some fun surprises along the way, like the McDonald's we walked past. They had a statue of Ronald McDonald out front with his hands in the Buddhist praying position, which is called the Way, by the way. But to me, the best surprise has to be that every restaurant has portions that are fit for a king and are very inexpensive. We haven't got much sleep as of late, with the overwhelming amount of things to do and the late night parties. I must say I'm so glad that I'm not a huge drinker. It makes mornings great for two reasons. 1, no hangovers. And 2, no college kids until 11 or 12. Meaning we have the places to ourselves. Any peace and quiet that can be found here lies between 7 and 10 a.m. And to be honest with you, between the dogs and the chickens in the early morning, there just isn't much peace and quiet here, period. We've seen most of the sights here and are planning our next move. We're heading north to the city of Chang Mai to get away from some of the heat, pollution, and people. We've read that there are a few cooking schools in Chang Mai, so I definitely want to look into that. What a hoot that would be. There are tons of treks and tours as well, so, needless to say, we're already thinking about staying a little longer than 8 days. The plan is to take the sleeper train, which only costs us $25 each. We'll leave tomorrow at 10 p.m., so we should have enough time to see some of the King's festivities and the Emerald Buddha. Tomorrow is the King's birthday, and each day has become louder and louder, so tomorrow should be an absolute blowout.